Welcome to the Persuasion Pitch Podcast. I'm your host, Jess, licensed esthetician, makeup artist, and anti-MLM advocate. Today, I have a very special guest, and she is a registered dietitian, nutritionist. She is a small business owner, YouTube creator, and also an anti-MLM advocate. Her name is Kathleen Garsha Benson. Okay, well, hello, Kathleen. How are you?
I am doing so well. How are you?
I am good. So, all right. So, as you know, I'm a makeup artist and esthetician, and it makes me cringe so hard when these MLM reps are giving out skincare and makeup advice because our skin's our largest organ and it's dangerous. And, I'm familiar with that part of it, but you are familiar with the nutrition side of things, right?
Oh man, yes. It's painful to see.
Yes. So how is it dangerous for these companies to be giving out advice like this?
Yeah, so I've talked to a lot of people about this. I spent a lot of time thinking about this. I want to preface this by saying that there are some and I love being part of the registered dietitian community. So many of them are wonderful and very forward thinking. There are some that feel like dietitians should be the only people to give nutrition information. I'm not in that frame of, I'm not in that camp. I think there is you can argue for a very real need to have nutrition coaches, to have people who work with dietitians, who can work with dietitians for overall patient care and the long-term sustainability and the implementation of the plan provided by a registered dietitian. I think that can work really well with people who are not, and so many people can help in that way. This is not the same thing as being like a Beachbody coach or being a distributor of any of these kind of diet, nutrition, MLM companies. I feel like a lot of times they take anecdotes, they take whatever they have experienced or what their upline has experienced or what someone else in the business, their upline or other people, what they have experienced, and use that as a selling point. And not only is that not legal, but it's also not appropriate when we're talking about giving nutrition information, giving nutrition advice. In school, we are taught, and outside, even continuing education, it's all about what does the data say, what does the research say. Yes, we don't know everything, but we can take that and also professional opinion, and we can create a plan for that person without ourselves like having to try that in the first place, right? And so we don't base our recommendations on our personal experience of a specific product. Like that can have a role in it, but when it starts to be the foundation, that's an issue.
Right. Because the bottom line is you're going to want to recruit and sell whatever you are using because you want to make money and you've already invested into a starter kit or whatever. So of course you're going to try to get people on to, to whatever you're using and what you're selling. So, like that's like your main focus. So you're not necessarily going to give advice, like the best advice for these individuals because you're worried about the MLM.
Yes. And I've had some people comment and be like, well, what about the dietitians who do sell supplements or who do have different products? And that is okay. I see that as okay because they are not, if you look at anybody who is doing that and providing that, they're not just recommending a specific company. Mm-hmm. Usually practitioners or coaches will have a variety of different products from different companies, even if one of their favorite products of a specific company has the same technical product of another company, but they don't like it as much, they're going to recommend that other company. And it's okay at that point. Like they aren't like sold to that one specific
One
company,
thing,
which you'll
right?
find in MLMs, and they'll just say how everything that that company produces is the best thing ever, when that's not realistic.
Right, right. And it's just so important to get this information out to people. Another thing that we were discussing before we were recording was Herbalife. And it's been around forever, for years and years and years. And it is so incredibly dangerous to have these storefronts of these nutrition places because they look like legitimate businesses, right?
Mhm.
So, these people are not, they don't have, like, they should not be giving advice. They should not be telling people what types of teas and shakes they can drink. Like,
Yeah, the regulation is not there. I don't know. Have you read or listened to, what was that podcast called? What was it called?
was it something about with Herbalife behind the bastards? No,
Oh, did they
or
talk about it? I love
yeah,
that.
I think they do talk about it. And also
Ooh,
there's another one. It's let me
it was
see.
2 seasons, and the first season they went over MLMs, but then the second
Oh,
one
The
they,
Dream.
yes,
Yeah. Yes, yes.
just realizing how little regulation there is wild. And
Yeah.
especially, I mean, you can have a whole episode and talk about just supplements in general, but when you tie them along with the MLM, absolutely, and they're not getting that kind of education, and in order to be able to recommend those kind of products to people,
Right.
especially when it can have an impact on their health, right? It's not just general shakes, it's
Mhm.
ones that are promoting specific kind of health outcomes.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how these people who work at these shops are paid, but someone told me, I don't know how true this is, so this is allegedly, they are paid by the people that they bring in. I don't even think they're paid an hourly wage, but I could be completely wrong.
I've heard that.
So, like, there's like high schoolers that are, they don't even have any type of education on this.
Save the high schoolers.
Yeah. Like, yeah. My son, like, again, I've said this before, like, he's 11. He knows, like, he texted me the other day and was like, OMG, mom, because he was with his dad. He said, there was a Beachbody commercial on the radio.
Oh no.
Yeah. And he's 11. So I'm like instilling this in him at a very young age,
Good.
just in case, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't
So,
know anything negative about like direct sales, network marketing when I was a
mhm,
kid.
right.
Oh my goodness, my dog brought one of his loudest toys. I'm so
Oh
sorry.
my gosh. So, yeah. And, it's just, it's so dangerous to me. And I was going to say something about these nutrition places. What was it? Oh, okay. And well, first, I want to say that it does not matter what education level that that you're on, and I've said this before, because anyone can be sucked into these MLMs. And you were telling me about, didn't you know someone who, like, was a
Yes,
PhD?
yes. So a PhD, um, educated person, people on their team were other people as well, the same level of education, doctors, pharmacists, physician assistants, nurses. Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like at that point, when you have a team that has so many of those credentialed people on there, it's so much easier for them to get more,
Right.
just because they kind of feel like their colleagues are there and then they can trust them. And it's, sometimes we talk about the products that are really, really harmful and just not helpful. Some of them can be maybe not the best, but also not harmful, and overall not terrible, but it's still an MLM. It's still the business model that is
Mhm.
the problem.
Right. Right. And I mean, it's so dangerous. So also, with do you, like, what do you know about Herbalife? Do you know, like, a ton
Yeah.
about it?
So this
I'm like, let's get Herbalife.
yes, and this one really frustrated me because when I was doing all my deep dives and writing down all of my notes, I thought at the beginning when I started making my videos, I was
Mhm.
like, oh, I'll just do this and it'll be done. I won't have to think about this again. And so I threw away all of my notes on Herbalife, which is really frustrating. I've since then begun to keep my notes. But I do remember, and I have the ingredient list pulled up on their Formula One, and their first source of carbohydrates in there is coming from fructose, which if you're having that every single day, or if you have them twice a day, like that begins to be a little bit much, a little bit high on the amount of fructose and the amount, because your liver will have to metabolize that, break that down.
Right.
So it's just not, I don't like to recommend meal replacement shakes for a variety of reasons. And in very certain cases, it can be helpful, but having it come from, mostly the carbohydrates come from fructose, is not something that I would ever recommend. I can't imagine recommending that.
Right. Now I'm starting to think, because like whenever you mentioned liver, like this is my own opinion, but that could be like the link to where, people's liver, like it was failing because they were drinking these Herbalife shakes.
And I know that there was that one paper that was taken back, that was rescinded, but there were other ones as well that I referenced in my video about liver related concerns, and how when they stopped taking that, there was kind of a reversal. So there's kind of a reversal. So that's interesting.
It is, definitely is. Okay, so and my mom, she used to teach nutrition classes. So it boils down to proper nutrition and exercise, right? So we don't need all of these fads.
No. There was a study back, Tracy Mann, I have some of my notes pulled up. So Tracy Mann, she's actually a professor at the University of Minnesota. I believe it's a professor of Minnesota. And basically what she did, Tracy Mann, and some of her students, or some of the people who she was working with, they were able to do a review of every randomized controlled trial of diets that they could find, including follow-ups of that diet. And then they went back in 2013 and they updated it with the studies that they had missed, and then also newer ones on diets. And what they had found was that over the course of 2 to 5 years, people who dieted ended up gaining the weight back, and also a little bit more too. And the people who had not dieted didn't see that same change. Even if they did increase, it wasn't at the same amount. And so, we know that diets can really be harmful. We know that they can just leave us with a lack of certain nutrients. They can unintentionally encourage us to overconsume, kind of with the excitement of food after that plan is done. We know that they're just not building those sustainable practices. And this is where ones like Arbonne really frustrate me, because you'll hear some of the distributors say how it's not a diet, that it's a lifestyle. And you look at all of the rules for the 30 days to healthy living, and it's a diet. And if they say that it's for food sensitivities and they're doing it just to see, make sure to figure out what you're sensitive to, well, there's something called medical nutrition therapy. And that allows us to make changes in your intake, in your diet, that is evidence-based, that helps support conditions, or like actual implementation of things to help with health, right? So I don't consider that as it's technically kind of like a diet, but not like the diets that these kind of companies are doing. It's a change of intake, not for weight loss.
Right.
And when you look at food sensitivity practices or protocols, that's not what is aligned with Arbonne. So even though they say that they're doing it for health and for food sensitivities, it's not what we do to find food sensitivities.
Yeah.
It's not evidence-based.
Right. And that's like even more of like, it boils down to just the cult nature of these multi-level marketing companies. Honestly, these companies, they have a product because they have to have a product, and like, it's all built on recruiting, and that's just what it boils down to. These people, they don't have the right to be giving this advice out. In my opinion, they don't.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, the qualifications there's none other than you are 18 years or older and you can pay the entrance fee. And if you have a social security number, right? Like
Right.
that's what's required to be a coach in Beachbody.
Right. Like, what the heck? And like, this is like the frustration that I can share on my end, with the skincare and makeup, like I said. Like, they don't have the right to be giving this advice out. They just don't, because it's not even about the product at the end of the day. They may sign up thinking it's about the product. Then they're going to find out really quickly they're not going to make any money off of the product. They're just not. Like, you have to recruit. You just have to.
And if they do make money off it, it's because people are losing money.
Correct. Yes. I always say that. Like, 90. Yeah, I've said this. Like, I'm actually kind of getting tired of hearing myself say this. I say it so much. I'm like, 99.7% of individuals will lose money or make nothing at all. And the very small percentage that does make money, they are making it off the backs of others who are losing it. It's like I have this script.
You have it memorized.
I do. It's so true. Like, I say that. I may have said that in like almost every episode. I'm not sure. But yeah.
It really ruins the integrity of coaches, true coaches, professionals. For you, it ruins the integrity of people who have been trained as yourself.
Right.
Right. Like, I can sign up and sell, Rodan and Fields or any of the other skincare and say that this is the best for your skin type. Who am I to say that?
Right. Yeah. That just brings me to another point. It's like, I think it was like 2 days ago, because I'm in an esthetician group on Facebook, and they had licensed estheticians commenting because somebody asked if they should join and sell an MLM because they drop ship. They had licensed professionals saying that they were with MLMs. Like, I'm talking about Young Living, Unique. I was like, what? I did not realize that at all, because all the posts that I've seen before that one was like, don't do that. You're going to lose your credibility. So it's like, they would love to have someone that's an esthetician to sell this, because it looks like it gives them like the product more like legitimacy.
Yeah, that's another
more legit.
That's another good point. I've seen a lot of like companies using other not like kind of related, but other professionals as the like poster child. Like, like, for example, like having an esthetician be at the top of Young Living.
Yeah.
My dog is never this loud.
Yeah. Excuse her dog. Mine's in there sleeping because I don't want to call her lazy, but
So you have, like, if you have an esthetician that is at the top of Young Living, they're going to be like, oh, well, she's an esthetician. Like, we should, trust her for that, when it's not about the skincare. It's talking about the oils, or a pharmacist talking about Beachbody, right? Like, they are very knowledgeable in their field.
Yeah.
That's why they refer to other people to talk about the nutrition side of things.
Right.
Like, not saying that they're not smart, but there is a reason why hospitals have dietitians. Hospitals are how it's covered by insurance, that other health professionals refer to them for nutrition plans, for nutrition implementation and programs of that nature. And so, like, to use another professional to say that this product is great, there's a disconnect. And I feel like it's just so sneaky.
It is sneaky. And another thing is, the founders of Rodan and Fields, I call them Rodent and Kills. Yeah. So they're two dermatologists. And so people are like, oh, the dermatologist, right? That does not mean they're not quacks. And they use, them being the label of dermatologists. They were like, well, we're dermatologists. I bet we can have so many people jump on board with this because they're going to say, oh, well, they're dermatologists. So they use that as a marketing ploy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And then everybody can just hop on the backs of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So shady. So super shady. If people would just research, that's what I always say. I'm like, just research.
Yes. I always try to leave a couple of really good, unbiased resources that people can cross-check when they're looking at different supplements. Not, even not just MLMs, but just other supplements where they can see what is a place where I can get the summaries of all of the information that we currently know. Again, we don't know everything, but it's a good starting place, and to know some of the risks as well. So checking out those and looking at what the doses are, what the contraindications are, and just all the information around it, rather than, oh, this is another point. A lot of times they will sell based on the idea of like stories tell, facts tell, stories sell. So they base it off of fear-based marketing and also inspiration-based marketing from the stories.
Yes. Yes, I see that a lot. Like this morning, I was telling you, I was even late because I was looking because I saw someone say, I've lost all this weight, and it looked so MLM-ish to me. And so I went to the person's profile because she tagged them, and sure enough, there was before and after pictures. And I'm like, this has to be an MLM. So I was like trying to find, and they don't even say the name of it. Of course they don't, because they don't want to turn people off. But I saw like in small writing down at the bottom, it said average weight loss per blah 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 blah. I'm like, you can lose that, just eating properly and exercising. So
Right. I wonder if it
yeah.
was the Slimming Gummies. It Works new Slimming Gummies.
Oh gosh, hate shit works. I have names for everyone. I'm like, it
I love
works,
that.
shit works, Lime Life, Slime Life, Rodent Builds, Rodent and Kills, Young Living, Young Dying. I need to make a TikTok video about it. I'm trying to think, like, there's so many other ones.
Oh my gosh. Do you have one for Beachbody?
No, I need one though.
Man.
I need to think about that. Oh, I do. Actually, bitch body. Because, yeah, I didn't even come up with that. Actually, my son did not say the word, but whenever that commercial came on, he said AKA, and he put a B asterisk 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 body. Oh, he's smarter than I am. I was like, don't do that. He's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, you're not in trouble. You didn't say the word, but I couldn't help it. I couldn't help but laugh at that.
That's awesome. And I find it's funny because I was looking into, because I always have to, have a response when people ask about this. So like the Slimming Gummies, that's brand new. And it's funny because yeah, you'll probably start to see it. Especially this week, I've been seeing it a lot of places. On the actual web page, it says Slimming Gummies should be taken along with a calorie restricted diet. For a minimum of 90 days. And
the heck.
Yeah,
I mean, if it's calorie restricted, of course, like, oh,
exactly.
Yeah, I remember when they came out with their celery powder, and that was like a whole shit show. Like, they actually, I don't know if you were on these posts, but it works. Like, we were like all over their page. They actually unpublished their Facebook page altogether because everyone was, yes,
I missed that.
Yes, everyone was like, celery powder, like what? Like, they were like really going in on them, like they were getting drugged, like because of the celery powder. They had to unpublish their page because they had to go through all of the negative comments, remove them, and start banning people. Needless to say, I am banned from their page.
Oh man, you're just getting banned all over the place.
Yeah, I am. Yep. I've been banned from Rodin and Fields and Young Living. I would have to look, but there's not many I'm not banned from.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
So, okay. So what advice would you give to people who have a loved one in one of these nutrition MLMs that like try to, like recruit them or just try to give them products, even if it's like a sample of the products? Like, what would you tell them to tell their family member?
Yeah. So to be aware of the anecdotes, so the personal stories, while they are very inspiring, or they can be, that is the individual person, and that might not translate, and it might be contraindicated in certain situations. And be aware of products that are claiming to be it, like fix it all, be the solution. Because if that were the case, it's not like we're trying to hold it from people. So I feel like there's a little bit of conspiracy esque thinking around that. Like,
Right.
that's not what we
Nobody's
want.
trying to hold it from anybody. I mean, if
Yeah,
you know it, like, aren't you gonna want credit
share it.
for it?
Yeah. So, and I know that's comes down to trust, but I personally would not want to ever hold something away from somebody that it might
Right.
help.
Right.
So to kind of be aware of that, and saying that, dietitians don't want you to use this, or doctors don't want you to do this. Um, and to look at the ingredients and cross-reference those to reputable sources. So
Right.
yeah, like I've so many. Including like the dietary supplement fact sheet from the National Institute of Health. If you just Google that, that one should pop up. The Office of Dietary Supplements from the National Institute of Health. And then also the herbs and supplements from Medline Plus. Medline Plus is from the US National Library of Medicine. And they have like a whole list of all these herbs and supplements that you can kind of go through. And sometimes they'll have, I mean, both of those are great resources, and they'll have the like very popular ones, but sometimes one will have one and one will have the other. So it's kind of going through that.
Right. Bottom line, don't use MLM products.
Yeah.
It's not about the product. It is not about the product. I don't care if it's a free sample.
The
Say
business
no,
model.
thank you, or whatever. Give it to someone. I don't know. I'd say even
Yeah.
give it to someone else.
Mhm. And if you have a medical condition, ask if you can get a referral to somebody for nutrition. Might be
Right.
for insurance.
Yeah, like with the Herbalife places, whenever I walked into one of those places, they had a huge bottle of Hershey syrup next to the blender. Like, what if someone has diabetes? Like, they don't ask that. They don't know. And they're
Yeah.
giving them sugar, like pure sugar. What the
It
heck?
seems like a lot of those shake places are kind of like dessert shakes.
Yeah, they even like put like cereal on top of it. Like I saw Fruity Pebbles on top of one. You might as well like make a Hershey's bar and stick it out for garnish. Like what the like these aren't healthy. Like there's
Right.
all kinds of stuff. Like marshmallows. I'm like, what the heck? How is that
Yeah.
healthy?
Which, if they weren't marketing with a health halo, then that would be another thing, right? Like if they were just a dessert shop selling shakes, then
Right.
that's great. But it's
It's
the marketing.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like loading it down with chocolate. Of course, they're going to taste good. They're trying to cover up that. I've never tasted one, but people told me they taste like chalk. So I guess they're trying to cover up that chalk taste.
Oh man.
So I've never had one
I
though.
think I tried one at a Herbalife shop in 2009, 8, 9, around there. So it's been a long time. I don't think I've had one since.
Yeah.
Can't
And see, like
remember.
people think that these are new, but they go back. They go way
Yeah.
back. They've been
Mm-hmm.
around for a while. They're just popping up because I don't know. I don't know why, but they're just popping up.
I feel like last year was a big year for MLM because of the dreams sold.
Right. With the pandemic too,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
which is
Yep.
illegal. They should not be using the pandemic to try to recruit you to their opportunity. And if someone does, report that to the FTC and or to Tina. I'll leave the links to that down in the description of this. So tell everyone what your YouTube channel is, your Instagram, or wherever they can follow you or
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So Instagram or YouTube, it's a very long name.
Mhm.
And I kind of wish it wasn't so long. When I first started, I was like, it'll be fine. But it's Unlocked Nutrition. And then if you just search on YouTube, Unlocked Nutrition or Kat Benson, I've been trying to put my name in the tags to help
Oh
it
yeah.
to
Mm-hmm.
show up. So it should come up with that. And for Instagram, it's a lot easier. It's just dietitian Kat Benson. Dietitian is with the T, 2 T's, not with the C. So
I'll
yeah,
leave it linked down below.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everyone go and follow Kat because she's so knowledgeable. And yeah, so everyone go follow her.
I try.
Okay, you guys. So after I recorded this episode, I found out some information. So we were talking about, people working at these nutrition places and if they make an hourly wage or not. And I have some information for you guys. So I am in a Facebook group and someone personally knows someone else that went to a quote unquote interview for one of these places. And she gave all of the information. So the person who interviewed her said that employees get paid based off of a point system. So each thing that you sell at a store, whether that's shake or tea or whatever, is a certain amount of points. And whatever points you end up with at the end of the day is how much you get paid. And I'm quoting. So say I, for some reason, sell more than my other colleagues, I walk out with more. There's no base pay by any means. Also, she said I would have to buy some product for myself and sell it on my social media. And this person said, I was like, oh, hell no. And then she was saying that whatever I make at the end of the month, a portion of that has to go back to them to refund what they paid for the equipment. So I'd have to pay them back to use the blenders and such that are there. Mind blowing. So there's the answer, everyone. They don't not even get an hourly wage. That's mind blowing to me. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and I hope everyone has a great rest of the week.